Bramborough back with some Grand Tactician, Civil War. Got a USA, a Union campaign going here, and we are still in 1861. We're in mid-September. Okay, and time has not advanced since the beginning of the last episode, essentially. And so all the discussion of the theaters that we had last episode still pertains now. Out here in Missouri, this army is headed down to Rolla and the Supply Depot here. Grant's army currently at Louisville is under orders to come down to Clarksville, whereupon he will either start besieging these forts or may come down here and chase Polk off. McClellan's Appalachian army is here at Grafton, and he is waiting on just a couple more units to get to him, all of which will be here within a week. See right here, ETA of last transfer, 5 days. And then he's going to come over here to Marietta and then down to Point Pleasant, where we think there should be a Confederate army in this area, but our scout doesn't see it. If there is no one here, then McClellan's going to come down here and take Charleston, Virginia. Here. In Virginia proper, we are fighting a siege battle between McDowell and Jubal Early's Army of the Shenandoah. We fought this battle in the last episode, however, it took several days. I believe that the battle was finished on day 4, which means here on this campaign map, they're going to sit here in battle until, I guess, until September 16th. And our unengaged Virginia army under Patterson, I guess he's just hanging out. He's got some more troops coming as well. What does he have? He's got a little bit... he's got his cavalry coming to him. And a couple more artillery batteries. And other than that, I don't think there's much else to talk about. We've got our lumber mill building up at Buffalo for our little shipbuilding experiment. And we've got Salt Works building in New York, and I think in Indiana is where we built the other one. Well, I don't see any reason not to go ahead and advance time. There goes Grant, moving down the railroad. Union Army's unstoppable. Confederate forces skedaddle. I think this is the result of 5 land battles in a row. One. This one here, yeah. 5 consecutive land battles, yes, and 5 consecutive naval battles. That was done earlier. Back around episode 1 and 2 when I ran a couple of months off camera. There were a couple little inconsequential CSA raiding attacks on our blockade fleets. Now once Grant gets down here, the thing in besieging forts or going... I think maybe it's probably a better idea to go after Polk first, not because of Polk or even specifically because of Nashville, but because of this supply depot. I think I'm going to come do this first. Okay, we got our funding 1 policy enacted. So let's go to policies. Now the reason that I took government funding 1 was because I wanted Tariff Act and confiscation unlocked. I wanted access to these acts. That said, we're kind of doing okay on economy for now, right? I mean, we're pulling in over 300 million in tariffs, and this is showing that we've got a plus 323 million dollar surplus over the course of an entire year. I gotta say, that sounds suspect. Last time we looked at this, we were down near dead even. Where did I get 300 million in surplus? Oh, this is where we got it. We have ballooned in sales taxes for some reason. Let's see if I can get that. Yeah, look at this graph. For something caused a huge spike here. And then the last time I looked at surplus, we were down here, and boom, it has just spiked again. I think this is pretty volatile. I think it's pretty safe to say we're not going to maintain this level of sales tax. But at least for the moment, the bottom line is we're doing kind of okay on economy right now. So I think I don't need to plow straight into tariffs. Supply efficiency of armies operating in enemy states plus 15%. I think it's worth going for confiscation now. In terms of its effect, okay, I'm ready to go for this. However, our other options are diplomacy, in order to get more diplomacy subsidies flowing towards the Diplo category weapons projects. I like the idea of that. And that policy and this act would take the same amount of time. And then the other strong candidate is military 2. I need more military subsidies flowing for weapons projects, for organization reform, and for logistics reform. I'm going to go ahead and take the military 2 now, I think. And that's a long one. That's going to take almost 2 months. Or am I? I haven't pulled the trigger yet. We have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4. We have a total of 5 armies, and 4 of them are operating in enemy territory right now. And that's with no plans to change and pull back. So I'm going to go ahead and take confiscation now. I kind of feel like that's a little bit out of order for what I would normally do, but I also feel like it's the play that I like the best out of the several there. So, for example, here's Grant right here in Tennessee, right? Now, what's his supply situation here? Yeah, to be honest, better than I expected it to be. I expected him to expected lower than this, and in fact, it is dropping. Yeah, we've got our. Where's he drawing supply from? Looks like only from this one little IIP at Hopkinsville, and he's dropping off. So I want this supply depot more than the city, more than Polk's army. I want this supply depot. So I'm going to come to Nashville, which probably means we're about to have a battle in the Western Theater between Grant and Leonidas Polk. Okay, let's see how line is, if I can get it to click. Let's see how line. Fine, I'll just scroll then. Okay. He's gotten close enough where this is considered Union now, and we need it. Yeah. He needs to come over here and, if nothing else, buff up his supply. And it looks like the Confederate Army of the West has continued to pull back. Somewhere back here. I don't see any supply depots building. But he's not at Rolla. Okay. Jubal Early is pulled back somewhere. Okay, he's pulled back here to where the Army of the Potomac is. And here we go. Ulysses S Grant against Leonidas Polk at Nashville, I presume. Okay. And we are probably attacking here. Grant has 16,000 men and a little bit of cav, 35 guns. Polk has 10,000 men, about the same amount of cav, and 11 guns. We are in Confederate territory. If I were to go for, we have the possibility of going for the siege, but being in Confederate territory, Polk's guys are probably eager, whereas Grant's guys are probably confident. And Polk would have the edge even though being outnumbered, just like we saw at Harper's Ferry earlier. On the other hand, one play here could be go into the siege and then immediately convert it into the tactical. That would increase the chance that we get a defensive situation. And I think that that would be better. Grant does have more men, but unlike our other armies, a lot of Grant's men, a lot of Grant's infantry, about half of them, are still smoothbore armed, not rifle armed. I'm going to do it that way. Is it guaranteed to work? I don't know. I'm going to try. I'm going to try doing it this way. Okay, so we got a little bit of a siege situation going here. First of all, what does the game tell us about our chances? Yeah, about even. With all the Confederate guys eager. Well, Grant's guys are all mostly eager and some determined. Interesting. I bet you Polk has a better supply situation, though. Let's go ahead and convert. Assault. This will be the first combat for all of our units in this army, but I believe that that is true for the Confederate units as well. And to the extent that it matters, I don't know if it does, but all the units in this army, they're from Midwestern states, modern Midwestern. At the time, that term wasn't used. They would have been called Northwestern at the time. Ohio, Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin. Those states were originally called the Old Northwest, as opposed to the modern Pac Northwest. And, okay, well, it's a meeting situation. Okay, so the objective, wherever the, well, where's the objective? Okay, so technically a meeting situation. However, the unclaimed objective is right here on our deployment zone. So this is going to wind up being a defensive situation for us after all. We just can't put we can't pre-build parapets. We can, however, I mean, this is a nice spot, right? Got this well, we got Stones River running right here, the West Fork. So we've got a forward choke point here, some forward choke points back up here, and a choke point here. So this is kind of a natural, obvious defending point. Yeah. Yeah. Right. And where is Polk coming from? Polk's entry points are here and here, right? So fairly obvious route like so, up here to this turnpike and up to the objective. He's got, you know, he's got a McFadden's Ford should be the focal point of the battle. Now we'll see if he actually does that. He may want to come over here and cross this ford and come back around this way. If he were to do that, I kind of like the, well, we've got like this almost ready-made band of forest for cover right through here. If he were to do something like that. Grant's army isn't all that huge. I think he's got 7 brigades. I don't want to spread them out covering a whole bunch of different fords. I think we're going to concentrate Grant's army right in here with an eye toward defending at this ford. Defending along in here if the Confederates cross and come up to the on this side of the river. Alright, so I'm going to get that set up and get some calves scouting, and I'll be back. Yeah, as expected, the CSA units were spotted right about here, coming down this road, and kind of the first important, you know, which way do they go intersection was right here, and the lead brigade did turn and started heading down Gresham Lane. They're out of vision at the moment because the cav is moving back out. So they're probably going to come up this way, make a right, and then the next important spot, which we want to see which way they go, is do they turn left here to go straight toward the objective, or do they come down this way to cross the river first? I think they'll make the left, but that remains to be seen. And yeah, the lead infantry here under apparently Earl Van Dorn did make the left, so they're headed right down this road into this area, right at the objective. Which means they're kind of committing to having to cross at these fords. We'll see how that works out for them. Yeah, we're right here at the tail end of day 1. The Confederates continue to move up. I've got some skirmishers up in here along the railroad line just to kind of mess with them. Inflict a few early casualties. To be honest, another option that I had was to push across here and set up my main line along this railroad. I think that would have been a pretty reasonable way to do this. I just didn't really think about it. A little late to do that now. Maybe. Maybe. We'll see what the deployment zone looks like. I mean, you've got kind of the flanks anchored here in here by the bends in the river. So, yeah, that would have been a pretty good defensive position, I think. And it is somewhat possible that the deployment zone could let us do that. Or I might just leave it the way it is, which is frankly the more likely. But these skirms are getting good cover on this railroad. Thinking back a couple battles to where we were on a railroad for cover, yet we took a lot of casualties, I wasn't getting this green cover bonus. Something about that battle, I don't think I was getting full cover from the railroad at, I think that was the Battle of Front Royal. Or maybe these guys are getting a combination of railroad and forest. It shows embankment. I do know that there's two different types of railroad cover. There's unfinished railroad and finished railroad, and they have different values. I just don't remember which one is bigger. This certainly looks like a finished railroad, not an unfinished one. And so far, our skirms are doing fine. Did see a strange message. Trimble withdrew. That's Confederate. Marched away from the battle with approximately 100 men. 50 cav and 5 guns. Kind of did the same thing in this battle that I did in the other one. Well, while we were waiting for the Confederates to show up, had my guys building breastworks over here just to get some perk slot. Hey, it works. And now I'm just going to fiddle with them a little bit to get them in there nice and even. Once they finish their breastworks, they never seem to line up exactly right on them. I think Miggs is still working on his over here. And these skirms will do what they do for as long as they do it. Eventually they're going to take casualties, fall back, and that's fine. And I'm doing this because skirms just naturally do a little bit better on the casualty exchange ratio. They take less casualties than they inflict. And this brigade kind of built its... I need to do the same thing here. And I don't think I'm even going to keep King. And this breastwork was oriented toward this direction. Looks more likely we're going to be defending this fort. So in fact, I'm just going to pull them back here as a reserve. Yeah, King's skirms got all hung up on this ford down here and got tired as a result. But let's just pull them back. Ooh. Skirms might back him some cav here. Oh, this guy's just smoothbore armed. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be able to get that cav to rout before they themselves are forced back. Probably not. Getting a little low on ammo here for wolves, guys. Yeah, I told these skirms to fire at the artillery. They're not even doing it. Skirms have a lot of advantages, but responsiveness once they are engaged is not one of them. Once they start shooting, they've got a mind of their own, and that's about all there is to it. Kearney. Where is Kearney? Just go ahead and pull them in. Pull them back. They've done what they can do. Okay, we're at the end of the day, so I'll redeploy and I will be back. Okay, it's 7:30 in the morning on day 2, and we've got rebels crossing this ford right here. Right into Prentice's division, who got one guy in fence, one guy in breastworks, and King, I don't know if he's considered covered by breastworks or forest. He's got forest cover. Alright. And I've told this skirmisher unit to form back up into his parent brigade, but he's not moving. I don't know what's up with that. Okay. But this brigade is coming in under fire from 2 different brigades as it tries to cross the ford there. That typically doesn't work out so hot. For, well, Cav over here just keeping watch on the flank, see if an opportunity arises. There's too many forces over here for him to come over here and try something ill-advised. I think we've got artillery, yeah. I think artillery's got eyes on this crossing over here. King only has smooth bores. Mitchell only smooth bores. Ord does have rifles, and he's getting shots down in here into the ford. Donaldson's brigade is wavering. I should imagine they would be. Yeah, come on up here into smoothbore range. There you go. There you go. Nice job, Arkansas State troops. Once within range, the smoothbore, well, specifically the Springfield musket, is pretty deadly. Once within range. Buck and ball ammunition, per the tooltip. I wonder if I should move Mitchell from the breastworks up onto this fence. And then I can kind of move King over this way just a little bit on his flank. That might have been a better idea. Although what we got right now seems to be working just fine. Because of the overnight deployment phase, several of our brigades wound up with low cohesion coming out of that, but I think they're recovering from that. Yeah, they have. I don't know if this artillery is getting any. Let's move him up to about here. you can see he's been ordered to go back to King's Brigade. He's just not moving. What if I give him another order, if that'll break that? Nope. $500 men here. I don't really want these guys engaged. Not with infantry coming on the flank like that. Let's just get this cav back on our side of the river. Not that way. How about this way? That looks better. Okay, well, the rebels attempt to cross this not so good. Well, okay, skirmishers responsive to coming up here and maybe shooting at this cav, or artillery rather. Alright, so Polk has been rebuffed at the ford. $1,100 casualties to our little over 350. Now one could make an argument for, okay, let's come over here and start hitting them instead. But that means my own guys got to go through the fort and get all tired and disorganized. I don't know if I want to do that. And let's just bring the cav. Who don't have great morale. Let's just kind of bring him over here. Watch this forward. For some reason he's in March. He wants to be in March now. I'm not against that, I guess. Oh, I still had a skirmisher over here. Watching that ford. Ford skirmishers. Well. That cav did, or cav, that artillery did break over here. Well, it kind of looks like that if they're going to try to come across at all, they're going to come across over here. So let's go ahead and get go ahead and get these guys over to this line. So we get King reoriented. And yeah, let's get Lytle's division. Let's go ahead and get him across the river. Bring him up to about, not that. Van Doren's coming down here. He's not coming for this ford. They may just be retreating. I don't know. I will cut back in whenever something becomes a little clearer. So this is interesting, and I don't know if I've seen this before 1.07. We had not reached the end of the bar up here on victory. Okay. And you know, they've taken 10% casualties instead of the usual 22% for early war. Yet they've gone into retreat mode now. I don't think I've seen the enemy go into retreat mode that early. I guess possibly because of morale, although they're still above 40 anyway. So I think that's something new. And we've only got 4 minutes of retreat phase, so this is essentially the end of the battle. And that, you know, I think that kind of makes sense. Polk was outnumbered by a fair amount. Do we still get the tooltip? Yeah. We had 17,000 on the field. He had roughly, well, 11,000 or 10,000. He had 11,000, but then a few guys withdrew under Trimble. He had 10 or 11,000. He's outnumbered. He's in an attacking situation. Initially a meeting engagement. So he heads toward the objective, gets here, finds our position, you know, kind of makes a testing attack here. Is anything viable? Gets completely rebuffed at the ford. You know, what are his options? None, really. So he elects to withdraw. That's probably a reasonable action that I don't think the AI would have taken before 1.07. All right. So, you know, not the greatest battle ever. However, I think we learned a little something there about AI decision making in 1.07, and I think it was reasonable. You know, a minor victory for us. Not enormous, really kind of a big skirmish. But he has to retreat from Nashville either way. So we're going to grab Nashville, and we're going to grab that supply depot, which is why we came here. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and spend the money and put a fort at Nashville, and that way we will kind of have something there and not leave Nashville completely open while the Army of the Tennessee heads up to deal with Henry, Donelson, and Hyman. Even the newspaper headline is slightly different. Polk's command withdraws, not retreats. Okay. We captured 5 guys. All right. Let's run time just long enough to capture Nashville. Why not? actually get him up onto Nashville. The supply situation is going to suck here until we get this supply depot actually captured. Well, he only came this far and camped. Interesting. This may not be the last battle we have to fight against Polk. And he still has, you know, the majority of his force. With more coming, we are capturing. The question is, with Polk so close, will this supply depot flip to our control once Nashville does? I don't know. May have to go attack him again. And at the moment, we're doing pretty good on ammo. But we're out of food. For both dudes and horses. Okay. Wait a minute. Apparently there was a naval battle of some type. Battle of the Atlantic? What was this? Savannah. Okay, so this is probably the Charleston blockade. And 2 ships captured. So they did a little raiding attack over there. It would appear. We're still at green readiness, still in blockade mode, and let's transfer those transfer the captured ships into our pool. Resolute and Mobile. We can keep those names. I mean, Mobile, as far, I mean, from our perspective as the Union, that's still one of the United States, right? This is a rebellion. We're not recognizing that they're a separate country. So Alabama's a Union state too, from our perspective. We're just trying to teach them the error of their ways. So Mobile's fine as a name for that ship in the U.S. Navy. Okay. Get back to Grant's army. Let's capture Nashville. See if the supply depot comes under our control. Or is Polk gonna burn the damn thing down? Which, if I were Polk, I think that's what I would do. I think we're going to have to push and attack him again. I guess either maybe he only had to retreat that far, because he didn't retreat really, did he? He withdrew, so maybe you don't have to retreat as far. Maybe in withdrawal mode they only have to go as far as breaking contact. You know, when you reach that yeah, Nashville is ours. However, the supply depot, the telegraph station, and Cumberland Iron Works are not. Yeah, Grant's going to have to push forward and attack Polk again. And I think that that will have to be an item for the next episode. Before we cut out of this one, let's see how McClellan is doing. Well, there's that army of the Northwest. What are they up to? 10,000, 11,000 coming. Okay. I think McClellan should have all of his guys now. Yes. Appalachian Army is manned up. He's got green readiness. Let's get him on the railroad and bring him as far as... well, let's just bring him to here. And hopefully, you know, see if that's enough to capture that supply depot. We'll enable both rail and river movement. Get him down here. And meanwhile, how is Lion doing? He has gotten 2 Rala. We have eyes now on the Missouri State Guard. Remember, Lion is in scout mode. That helps. And we have the supply depot now, and so Lion's in a good supply situation. Has the Missouri State Guard grown any? It has not. Is there another symbol there behind him? No, I don't think so. Lion's mission is essentially defensive. All I'm really trying to do is just not let him have St. Louis. Came down here to get the supply depot. We accomplished that. I don't see any other supply depots building down here. I don't feel particularly compelled to keep chasing the Missouri State Guard. I mean, if we do make contact, what's going to happen? Either he's going to retreat, or we're going to beat him up a little bit, and then he's going to retreat. What does that really gain us? Tiny bit of national morale advantage? I don't know. Not sure what I'm going to do there. Okay. So, kind of wishy-washy on Lion. Grant's going to move ahead and re-engage Polk here. And, well, that's weird. Oh, okay. We just needed to... we do have control of this supply depot. It just needed to... It needed a few ticks of time to flip. That's better. Well, even so, I don't think I want to move off and do anything over here until Polk is a little bit further away from Nashville than he is. So I think I'm still going to come over here and engage him. And then let's just finally have a look at, is anything brewing in Virginia? Don't really think so. Both of the... I think both of the... well, I don't know. I don't know if Army of the Potomac is here or not. We don't have vision on them. Despite our... I've moved this gunboat as far up here as I could. Hampton Division is still down here, still small. I think it's a little bit of a overextension to come down here and take Stanton. Although the Shenandoah Valley is pretty important to the Confederacy for supplies. New Market, there's a lumber mill, there's a farm. No. I think we should wait until there's another force in Virginia to allow the flexibility to maneuver down this way. For now, I think we can bring McDowell's army back to the other side of the Blue Ridge. I think that makes sense, and that's what I'm going to do. Something like, let's bring him down to Culpeper. Okay. If you like what we're doing with the channel, then leave a like, leave a comment, perhaps even subscribe if you're so inclined. I'd be certainly appreciative if you did. If you're new to the channel, new to this series, want to see what's been going on in this campaign, or if it's later on and this episode is a little older, you want to see the future episodes in this campaign, link in a playlist to the series here. At any rate, thank you very, very much for watching. I appreciate it.